What is up, ladies and gents? Thought I would come on and do a video this afternoon talking about the inghams YouTube videos recently. So, their vlogs recently have been incredibly boring. Like, it's actually, I think about it, it's like hilarious to, that people think their vlogs have actually been that good recently, because the truth is they haven't. And I think we all knew that, I knew before the road trip even started, that the vlogs weren't going to be that good and their views weren't going to be very high. I think, realistically, I think we all knew that. I think we all knew that their views would take quite a big hit, obviously, during this road trip. I mean, you think about the sort of view counts they were getting, like the view counts they were getting on their vlogs over Christmas, and you compare that to now, obviously, during this road trip, and you look at the view counts they've been getting. Most of their vlogs have been struggling to actually get above 30,000 views. And it's not hard to see why these vlogs are struggling, because the content they're putting out there is just absolute crap. They're not actually showing anything that's actually worth watching, and that is the major problem. If they were actually showing something that was worth watching, I think people would, I think they would probably be more likely to get a lot more views. But at the end of the day, their vlogs are just, just mediocre, and that's putting it mildly. I mean, it's like, it feels like they're not putting any effort into their vlogs at this point. It's funny, it's the other week I went back and I was looking at their vlogs from about 6-7 years ago, and you could see that they used to put a lot more effort into the content they were putting out there. But these days, it just, like, especially when it comes to these big road trips that they do, you would think that they would be putting a lot more effort into the sort of content they're putting out there on the internet. But it feels like they're not really doing that. Like, they're not really putting as much effort into that content as they should be. And that is why their vlogs, are suffering at this point, because the content is so bad. I mean, it's hilarious. As I said, it's hilarious that people think the vlogs are actually that good, because I think their view counts tell a completely different story to that. What the view counts are showing me is that their vlogs are not that great, and are definitely not that good. These road trips, they're really gonna be killing off their channel. They really are. I feel like it feels like that's what they're trying to do at this point. It feels like they're trying to kill off their channel. It's like, obviously, 18,000 views on yesterday's vlog, which for a channel that has over 1.3 million subscribers, that is pretty terrible. Because a channel that has over 1.3 million subscribers should be getting, we all know that a channel that has that many subscribers should be getting way more views than what they are. And the fact that the channel that has over 1.3 million subscribers is only getting 18,000 views is pretty bad. And it shows that the content they're putting out there is not that good when they're not even getting above 20,000 views. And it must piss them off as well. Like, it must piss them off, the fact that these vlogs are not doing well. As do they really think that these vlogs are going to do well? That's what they must think. They must think that the vlogs are going to do so well and they're going to get a shite ton of views. But these vlogs never do. They were just as bad as this last year. There's no difference in the view counts between last year's Arctic road trip and this year's Arctic road trip. They were just as bad. The view counts they were getting for last year's Arctic road trip are just as bad as they are this year. There's not really been any difference. They were just as bad. They were just as bad. It's like people. I wouldn't mind if it just feels like all they're showing is stuff they've already shown before. At least show something different. I don't know what to say. I wish there was something like good I could say about their vlogs, but there just really isn't, because their vlogs are absolute shit. And I think people need to start facing the facts. Their vlogs are shit. That's not a lie. It's not a lie to say that their vlogs are shit because recently they have been shit. And when people say that, they're not, they're not lying about it. They're not saying something that isn't true. Because if you look at I think their views prove that their view counts prove just how bad their vlogs have been. The fact that most of their vlogs for the last couple of weeks haven't gotten above 30,000 views or have struggled to do that. And we're talking about a channel that has over 1.3 million, 3 million subscribers. Although, when you think about it, a lot of those are probably inactive accounts and probably people that who have probably stopped watching and haven't unsubscribed. I actually reckon that if YouTube got rid of a lot of the inactive accounts on the platform, I reckon that I honestly don't think that they would have anywhere near the amount of subscribers they have now. I think that really has to be said, and that's not being harsh or negative. That's just facing the facts. That's just looking at the truth. The truth is that if YouTube removed a lot of the inactive accounts, which they probably should, the inghams would definitely not have as many subscribers as they do right now. I mean, it's just crazy that that a channel that has over 1.3 million subscribers is struggling to get above 30k views on their vlogs. You look at it right. The only vlogs that are doing well now is their Christmas vlogs, and I've said this many times. Their birthday vlogs don't do very well now. The travel vlogs don't do very well now. The only thing that they can say the only thing they can say is at least they still get a shite ton of views on their Christmas vlogs. They're the only ones that actually still do well. None of the other vlogs they do actually still doing well. The road trip vlogs don't hardly get any views. The birthday vlogs don't hardly get any views. I mean, the view counts for the birthday vlogs last year were absolutely mediocre. For a channel that, and this is the thing, right? Like, going back, a few years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, the birthday vlogs used to be the big hits for the inghams. They're the ones that used to put in quite a large amount of views, and they would do that all the time. But now even those vlogs are struggling, and they're not putting in the amounts of views they used to be putting in. The only view accounts that are still regularly putting in a decent amount of views every year are their Christmas vlogs. They're the only vlogs that are still doing well. None of their other vlogs are still doing well. This road trip they've been on so far has been completely and utterly boring. They've not actually shown, as far as I'm aware, they haven't actually shown anything that was actually worth watching. I mean, this whole story with them being pulled over by the police, yeah, bullshit. It's funny how they didn't actually vlog that part, which would, if they had actually shown that would have actually been worth watching. Seeing them accidentally being pulled over by the police, it would have been worth watching, And this is the thing with the inghams, when these things happen, they don't show them. They don't show the things that would actually be worth watching. It's just crazy to see how bad things have gotten for their channel. And I think they need to face facts and, kind of realise that things have gotten very bad for their channel, and they need to, they need to look at, doing, changing their channel drastically. I mean, their channel's done. There's no point in them even trying to revive the channel because it is done, basically. There's no denying that things have gotten very bad for their channel and that things have gotten quite unbelievable. Things have gotten terrible. It's just hilarious seeing how low their view counts are. These vlogs are not going to be doing well. It's just crazy that people think, and it's hilarious that people think their vlogs are actually good, because as I said, their view counts tell a completely different story to what to a completely different story. I have to say. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this short little video. I thought I would do one tonight. To give my viewpoint on that. So I'll see you for another video soon. Bye bye.